610 feet long, nearly 16,000 tons, shaped like no warship before it. The Zumwalt is the biggest and most absurd destroyer ever built. Its guns fired rounds costing $1 million each. The Navy planned 32 ships. They built 3. Now, stripped of those guns, it is being rebuilt for a mission no one imagined. The strangest part is not what went wrong. Nothing in the modern Navy looks like this. 610 feet from stem to stern, towering over the pier, and weighing in at 15,760 metric tons, the Zumwalt dwarfs every destroyer before it. Official Navy documents call it the largest and most technologically advanced surface combatant ever built. But to anyone seeing it in person, the first reaction is not technical, it is disbelief. The hull slopes inward instead of flaring out, giving the ship a knife-edged, almost unreal silhouette. To some, it looks like a science fiction prop that wandered into the wrong century. To others, it is a floating monolith, more fortress than warship. The media called it a stealth battleship, and the Navy's own fact file brags about its radical shape and sheer size. The Zumwalt's deck stretches longer than 2 football fields. Its beam, nearly 81 feet at the widest, hides a hull that narrows sharply at the waterline, a design called tumblehome that breaks every rule of classic naval architecture. The ship's profile is so flat and angular that on radar, it supposedly appears no larger than a small fishing boat. Inside, the ambitions are just as bold. The Zumwalt runs on an all-electric integrated power system, generating 78 megawatts, enough to light a small town. Its crew is barely half the size of previous destroyers, thanks to automation that ties together navigation, weapons, and engineering with digital controls. At launch, advocates in the Navy hailed it as the future of surface warfare, a destroyer that could fight close to shore, slip past enemy sensors, and deliver devastating firepower with 2 enormous 155mm guns. The promise was clear, a leap into the next era of naval combat. But as the world stared at this ship's alien outline, one question lingered. Why build a destroyer that looks and costs like nothing else on Earth? In 1994, Navy planners launched the surface combatant for the 21st century study called SC-21. Their goal was blunt: fill the growing gap in naval gunfire support left by retired battleships and aging destroyers. The Cold War had ended, but the need to strike targets deep inland from the sea had not. The Navy wanted a new kind of warship, one that could deliver precision fire for Marines and soldiers ashore, survive in hostile coastal waters, and operate with a much smaller crew. This vision took shape as the DD-21 program. The Navy's mission brief called for a destroyer that could bring battleship punch back to the fleet, but with modern efficiency and stealth. Instead of simply upgrading existing hulls, the Navy pushed for a clean sheet design. The DD-21 would carry advanced guns, fire guided shells over the horizon, and blend into the background on enemy radar. By 2001, the program shifted gears and was renamed DDX. The new designation reflected a broader ambition, not just a land attack specialist, but a technology testbed for everything from electric drive to next-generation sensors. The X stood for experimental, and the Navy intended to pack the ship with unproven ideas, an all-electric power system, heavy automation, and a hull shape that defied convention. These decisions set the stage for a destroyer unlike any before. The Zumwalt would be the product of this lineage, a ship designed to replace the firepower of the past with the technology of the future. In chasing this goal, the Navy accepted massive engineering risks and costs, betting that radical change was the only way to regain dominance close to shore. Engineers faced a dilemma that would define the Zumwalt's legacy. How far could they push stealth before the laws of physics pushed back. The answer took shape in the ship's tumblehome hull, a design that bends tradition as much as it bends radar waves. One systems engineer summed up the approach: "We bent the hull inward to hide its face." Instead of flaring outward above the waterline, the Zumwalt's sides slope sharply inward, creating a silhouette that reflects radar energy away from its source. In controlled model tests at the Naval Surface Warfare Center, this geometry produced a radar cross-section of just 0.25 square meters at 8 gigahertz, about the size of a small outboard boat. For a 15,760-ton warship, that is a feat bordering on the unbelievable. But stealth came with a price. Classic naval architecture favors flared hulls for a reason. They keep ships upright in rough seas. The Zumwalt's inward slope shrinks the waterplane area, lowering its metacentric height, the measurement that tells you how stubbornly a ship resists rolling. Critics inside the Navy's survivability office warned that the new hull could risk capsizing in extreme conditions, especially if damaged. To counter this, designers loaded the ship's heaviest machinery low in the hull and installed a movable ballast system. By shifting water deep within the ship, the crew can raise the metacentric height by up to 0.12 meters, restoring stability when the seas get rough. It is a balancing act, literally, between vanishing from enemy radar and staying afloat in the real world. The gamble on stealth set the stage for a destroyer that would need massive electric power to make its other futuristic systems possible. Sticker shock doesn't begin to cover it. The Zumwalt's advanced gun system was supposed to rain precision shells on targets 100 kilometers inland, but the only ammunition it could fire, the long-range land attack projectile, turned out to be rarer than gold. With the program shrinking from dozens of ships to just 3, the price per shell exploded. By 2016, Navy procurement officers were staring at invoices for $800,000 to $1 million per round. That's not a typo. One shell, one small fortune. At that price, every trigger pull cost more than a new house. The AGS was now a gun with no affordable bullets. No other ship in the world used this ammunition, so there was no way to spread the cost. The Navy pulled the plug on LRLAP orders in late 2016. Overnight, the Zumwalt's main guns went silent, leaving the world's biggest destroyer with 2 enormous empty turrets and a mission that had just vanished into thin air. The numbers tell the story better than any headline. The Zumwalt program began as a fleet of 32 ships, each one meant to redefine naval warfare. Within 5 years, the plan was cut to 24. By 2008, the target shrank again to 7 ships, and then just 3. Each reduction multiplied the cost per hull, pushing the total program bill to $22.5 billion. The lead ship alone carried a $2.2 billion construction contract, with nearly $2.9 billion spent just on design and systems integration before a single round was fired. Congressional hearings grew heated as watchdogs from the Government Accountability Office detailed cost overruns and shifting requirements. One oversight official put it bluntly: capability without affordability is no capability at all. Lawmakers questioned why the Navy was pouring billions into ships with empty gun turrets and an abandoned mission. The rapid contraction from 32 to 3 ships left the Zumwalt-class stranded, too expensive to cancel, too few in number to justify its original vision. The program now faced a crossroads. It could reinvent the ships for a new role, or let them become monuments to ambition gone awry. USS Zumwalt now sails into a future no one predicted at launch. In January 2026, the ship completed builder's trials with a deck stripped of its signature guns. Those vast 155mm turrets, once the centerpiece of its mission, are gone. In their place, 4 vertical launch cells stand ready, each designed to house the Navy's new conventional prompt strike hypersonic missiles. The transformation is as stark as it sounds, a warship built to rain precision shells on land now reimagined for high-speed missile strikes across continents. Official reports from Huntington Ingalls Industries confirm the integration of conventional prompt strike modules and upgraded radar, closing the book on Zumwalt's gun era and opening another on hypersonic warfare. The commanding officer summed up the mood on board. The ship finally has a weapon worthy of its power grid. It is a statement that captures both pride and irony. Billions spent, missions rewritten, and a design that was almost abandoned. Yet, the Zumwalt finds itself at the leading edge again, this time as the Navy's first hypersonic strike destroyer. Whether this pivot redeems the program or simply extends its controversy is an open question. The ship's journey from an overbuilt gun platform to an experimental missile carrier is not just a story of sunk costs, but of relentless reinvention. Proof that, for the world's biggest and most absurd destroyer, the story isn't over yet. Today, Zumwalt floats as a $15 billion experiment. Its massive hull, stealth lines, and high-tech systems are still searching for purpose. In simple terms, no warship better exposes the collision of ambition and reality. As the Navy pivots again, its future remains a question as big as its silhouette. What do you think?